My model girlfriend used me for money, so I trapped her with her sugar daddy. I never thought I'd end up writing something like this, but maybe sharing it will keep someone else from making the same mistake I did. A little over a year ago, I met Sophie. She was a model, or at least that's how she introduced herself. And to be fair, she looked the part. Long, chestnut hair, flawless skin. The kind of smile that makes you believe she's only smiling at you. Meeting her felt like a miracle. I was at a rooftop party in the city, invited by a friend of a friend. I almost didn't go, but Sophie was there, standing in a shimmering dress that caught the light in a way I still remember. She talked to me first, which shocked me. Usually, I was the guy blending into the background. "Do you work in finance?" she asked, sipping champagne like it was water. Yeah, software finance, kind of boring stuff," I admitted. "Boring pays the bills," she said with a grin. That grin hooked me. From that night on, Sophie seemed interested in me. She texted first, laughed at my stupid jokes, and insisted she wasn't like those other girls who only cared about material things. I wanted to believe her. For the first couple of months, everything felt perfect. She'd come over, watch movies, make pasta at my place, and cuddle up next to me like she was truly happy. Sure, she had expensive tastes. She'd casually mention a designer bag she liked, or hint about a vacation she'd always dreamed of. But I figured that was normal. She was a model after all. The first real test came when her rent was suddenly late. "I hate asking you for this," Sophie said, her voice breaking just slightly, "but my agency delayed my payment again. If I don't cover this week's rent, I'll lose my apartment." I hesitated, but she looked genuinely distressed. So, I wired her $1,200. "Just a loan," I said. "Pay me back when you can." She kissed me, whispered, "You're my hero," and I felt 10 feet tall. That was the start of a pattern. Her car broke down, $600 from me. Her phone got stolen, $900 for a new one. Her mom needed help with medical bills, $2,000 gone. Every time, Sophie promised it was temporary, that once her modeling gigs picked up, she'd pay me back. She even said she wanted us to move in together, and I believed her. Why? Because in between the request for money, she was warm, affectionate, and sometimes overwhelming in her attention. She made me feel like the luckiest guy alive. But cracks started showing. She always avoided introducing me to her model friends or her family. Her phone would blow up with messages she ignored when I was around. Once, I caught a glimpse of a name, Marco, but she snatched the phone away before I could ask. Then came the biggest red flag. One night, after too many glasses of wine, Sophie left her Instagram open on my laptop. She'd forgotten I was still logged into her account from helping her set up a sponsorship deal. I saw DMs from men, older men, rich men. They weren't just fans, they were clients. And Sophie wasn't just modeling. I told myself maybe I misunderstood. Maybe those DMs were just business. Maybe Marco was an industry connection. But the longer I stared at those messages, the harder it was to lie to myself. "Can't wait to see you again, princess. Same sweet as last time? I'll bring the watch you liked. You looked incredible in Paris." And Sophie's replies weren't exactly professional. "Miss you too. Don't forget the champagne. You spoil me." My stomach churned. I slammed the laptop shut. The next morning, I tried to confront her. "Who's Marco?" I asked, keeping my voice calm. Sophie froze for half a second, then laughed like it was the dumbest question in the world. "Oh my God, babe. He's just a photographer. Super eccentric. Thinks he's some kind of influencer. He calls everyone princess. Don't be paranoid." Her explanation sounded rehearsed, but the way she touched my arm, kissed my cheek, and flipped the conversation back to us made me hesitate. Was I really overthinking? For a while, I let it go, but the doubts ate at me. I started noticing more inconsistencies. Sophie claimed she was at castings all afternoon, but her Instagram stories showed her at rooftop bars with champagne glasses clinking. She said she was saving up to pay me back, yet she always had a new outfit, new jewelry, or a new bag. One night, she accidentally left her phone on my nightstand while showering. It lit up with a text. "Marco, pick you up at 8. Bring that red dress." I booked the suite. I felt my chest tighten. I wanted to scream, to confront her right then and there, but something in me held back. If I exploded now, she'd just lie, twist it, maybe ghost me entirely. I needed proof, real proof, so I played along. When Sophie came out of the shower, wrapped in a towel, I smiled and asked about her casting. She fed me the same story as always. I nodded, kissed her forehead, and told her I was proud of her. Inside, I was burning. Over the next few weeks, I became an investigator in my own relationship. I checked her agency emails and saw they came from a free Gmail account, not an actual agency domain. I overheard phone calls where her tone shifted soft, seductive, like she was playing a role. And then there was the night I followed her. She said she was going to meet a friend from the industry. I waited 10 minutes after she left, then grabbed my car. She didn't go to a casting studio. She didn't meet a female friend. She went straight to a 5-star hotel downtown. I parked across the street and watched as Marco himself, older, gray-haired, wearing a tailored suit, opened the door for her. She laughed, kissed his cheek, and they walked in together. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tight they hurt. That was the moment the illusion shattered. Sophie wasn't my loving girlfriend. She wasn't some struggling model who just needed a little help. She was a professional manipulator, living off men like me and Marco. But here's the thing. I didn't dump her right away. No. Something darker inside me whispered, play along. Let her dig her own grave. Make her believe she's winning, and then take it all back. Once I saw Sophie with Marco, I couldn't unsee it. The way she leaned into him, the way his hand rested on her lower back, it was obvious. But instead of confronting her, I decided to wait. I wanted her lies to stack so high they would collapse on their own. The next morning, Sophie crawled into bed beside me like nothing had happened. Her hair smelled faintly of expensive cologne, not mine. Sorry I was so late, she whispered. The casting ran over. Of course, I said, smiling. Inside, I memorized every word. From that day on, I kept my phone recording whenever she came over. At first, I felt like a spy in my own home. But the clips piled up. Sophie talking about clients. Sophie bragging about gifts. Sophie laughing about how easy it was to get men hooked. It was like watching a mask slip over and over again. But I wasn't ready to expose her. Not yet. Instead, I leaned into the role she expected me to play. The dependable boyfriend. The walking wallet. When she hinted about wanting a luxury trip, I asked where. When I was in Bali with some friends, it was magical, she said. Eyes sparkling. We should go. I pretended to think about it. Maybe, I said, if things keep going well. The truth was, I had no intention of taking her anywhere. But I wanted her to believe I would. The deeper she trusted me, the harder her fall would be. A week later, Sophie ramped things up. My birthday's coming, she said, twirling a strand of hair. I've always dreamed of owning a Cartier bracelet. Just something small, timeless. I laughed inwardly. A small Cartier bracelet cost over $6,000. Let me see what I can do, I said out loud. Her eyes lit up like I'd just proposed. She kissed me, whispering, you're the only one who really cares about me. That same night, I checked her Instagram again. A new picture popped up. Sophie in the very red dress Marco had told her to wear, standing in a hotel suite. The caption, living the dream. The comments were full of heart emojis. Men drooling over her beauty. Women jealous of her modeling life. Only, I knew the truth that the dream was built on lies, and I was done being her fool. So I set the trap. I told Sophie I was planning a special night for her birthday. I made reservations at the same 5-star hotel I'd seen her walk into with Marco. I even showed her a fake receipt for a Cartier bracelet. Her eyes went wide. You're unbelievable, she said, hugging me so tightly it almost felt real. Almost. What she didn't know was that I had also contacted Marco, using a fake email. I pretended to be Sophie's assistant. I told him Sophie wanted to surprise him on her birthday at that same hotel. 2 men, same time, same place. I wasn't just going to confront her privately. I was going to rip the mask off in front of her other life. The night finally came. Sophie dressed to kill, wearing a glittering black dress that left little to the imagination. You're going to love tonight, she said, kissing my cheek. I smiled. Oh, I know I will. We arrived at the hotel suite I'd booked under my name. Everything was perfect. Champagne on the table, soft music playing, city lights glowing through the window. Sophie twirled, admiring her reflection in the mirror. This is amazing, she whispered. I poured her a glass of champagne and said, don't get too comfortable. We're expecting a guest. Her smile froze. What? A knock echoed at the door. Her eyes flicked to me, then to the door. She looked pale, like her carefully crafted world was about to crumble. And she was right. The knock on the door sounded again, louder this time. Sophie's hand tightened around her champagne glass. Who is that? She asked, her voice strained. I smiled calmly. Why don't you open it and find out? She hesitated, then slowly walked to the door. When she pulled it open, Marco stood there in his designer suit, holding a bouquet of roses and a velvet box. For a few seconds, the three of us just stared at each other. Sophie's face drained of color. Marco, what are you doing here? He raised an eyebrow. Your assistant told me you wanted to celebrate your birthday together. Imagine my surprise. He stepped inside, glancing between us. And who is this? I set down my champagne glass and extended a hand. The boyfriend. The one who's been funding Sophie's little lifestyle when you weren't around. Marco's eyes narrowed. Sophie stammered, no, it's not like that. Oh, it's exactly like that. I cut her off. I grabbed my phone, opened the folder of recordings, and hit play. Sophie's own voice filled the room. He's so easy. I just mention bills or gifts and he caves. Honestly, I don't even have to try. Her face turned crimson. You went through my phone. You recorded me. You lied. For months, I shot back. You played me. You played him, and God knows how many others. But tonight, your show ends. Marco set the roses down on the table, his expression unreadable. Is this true? Sophie reached for his arm, desperate. Baby, he's twisting everything. You know I only care about you. Funny, I said, scrolling to another clip. Sophie's voice again. Marco's great for gifts, but he's old. Honestly, I just put up with him because of the money. The silence that followed was deafening. Marco's jaw clenched. He looked at Sophie like she was a stranger. You used me, he said coldly. You used both of us. Sophie panicked. Tears welled in her eyes as she dropped the glass, spilling champagne across the carpet. Please, I didn't mean it. You both mean so much to me. Her act might have fooled me months ago, but now it was pathetic. I stepped closer. You had your fun, but it's over. Every dollar I spent on you gone. Every lie you told, exposed. You wanted a birthday surprise. Well, here it is. Marco shook his head in disgust. You're nothing but a parasite. He opened the suite door and left without another word. The sound of it clicking shut behind him felt like the final nail in her coffin. Sophie collapsed onto the couch, mascara running down her cheeks. Please, don't leave me too, she begged, reaching for my hand. I pulled away. You never had me. You just had my wallet. Her tears turned bitter. You'll regret this, she spat. No one will ever love you like I did. I laughed. Thank God for that. I grabbed my jacket, walked out, and left her sitting in the ruins of her fake birthday celebration. The days that followed were strangely peaceful. For the first time in months, my phone wasn't buzzing with desperate messages for money or favors. I blocked Sophie on everything. She tried once from a new number, but I didn't even read the full text. A week later, I heard through a mutual acquaintance that Marco had cut her off completely. Without his money or mine, her glamorous life crumbled fast. The designer bags stopped appearing on her Instagram. The fancy dinners and luxury trips vanished. Meanwhile, I felt lighter, freer. Yes, I'd lost a few $1,000s, but I gained something far more valuable, clarity. I learned that love isn't built on gifts, or money, or constant reassurance. Real love doesn't come with invoices. Sophie had been a master of illusions, but in the end, the truth exposed her. And as for me, I walked away with my dignity intact, my self-respect restored, and one hell of a story to tell.